Hey, what's up you guys? It's Simon. Welcome back to my channel, and today's design is probably one of my favorites so far, and that is because you guys actually helped me to design it. So when I saw mushroom and sword for the first time, I had a lot of ideas swimming in my head. I remember when I first showed my friends some of the prompts on Discord, they all had a ton of cool ideas, like a mouse with a mushroom sword, for example. I really liked the idea of a mushroom sword, but I couldn't figure out exactly how I could combine the two because to me, a mushroom and a sword were relatively different shapes. So because of that, I ended up with the idea for like a mushroom based, like sort of forest elf type character, which was low-key inspired by Emily, oh my goodness, Emily Riboflavin on TikTok. I'm sure you guys have seen her. Her mushroom hat is iconic, and I really wanted to incorporate something similar to that into this design. I also sort of struggled with whether I wanted to do a masculine or feminine sort of aesthetic for this character because I loved the idea of like this like meek little mushroom boy trying his best to protect both himself and others around him, but also at the same time I really liked the idea of like a super tough like mushroom warrior chick. So in the end I decided to keep things pretty like silent and low key, and I posted a poll on my Instagram stories with a couple of emojis to help me decide which direction I should go. So when I first looked, you guys had overwhelmingly chose feminine. Like there was not a single vote for masculine, but to be fair and make sure that everyone had a chance to see it, I gave it until the next day to see what you guys chose, and it was literally 50-50. So in order to be more fair and make things kind of less obvious, I put up another poll with less conspicuous emojis since, you know, I literally put a pink heart next to a mushroom and a blue heart next to a mushroom. So that's kind of obvious. So this time I wanted to ensure things would be more random, so I had feminine as the sun and masculine as the star. And to be fair, I'm not trying to say there's like any one way to be masculine or feminine. You can be like feminine with short hair, and like mask with long hair, and whatever other way people want to view masculine versus feminine. This was just a very stereotypical way, I suppose, of helping me figure out which of those initial two ideas I wanted to use for this character. Anyway, like I said, I was going to be going for a more masculine character because you guys overwhelmingly chose the star the second time. So, like I said before, I wanted him to have like a somewhat small but like protective vibe, if that makes sense, like a kid who's ready to fight, but that's also maybe sort of biting off more than he can chew, which is why I decided to give him like sort of like a determined, but also like an underlyingly like nervous expression and like an iron grip on his sword, which is one of my favorite things about this design. I kind of want to go in a little bit of detail about the sword because I was not expecting it to come out the way that it did. So like I said at the beginning, I really was kind of unsure about how I wanted to like combine the idea of a mushroom and a sword. I initially was literally just going to have the sword be a sword until I was kind of sketching things about and I got the idea for rather than like a sword shaped like a mushroom, the mushroom can be the hilt of the sword. So I don't know if you guys can see, it's kind of hard to explain what I'm thinking of, but sometimes there's like the hilt of a sword is like a perfect like round shape, and I thought that worked really well as like the cap of a mushroom, and then rather than like a traditional hilt of a sword, did I say hilt already? You guys know what I mean, like the part you put your handsies on. I thought that could be like the stem. Is it the stem of a mushroom? You know, like it could be more something like that, and then have the sword like sort of protruding from the mushroom. And I thought that it turned out really cool. I wasn't expecting it to look the way that it did. I kind of want to draw um just the sword like at some point because I think it's really cute and really cool, and honestly if somebody tried to kill me with a sword like that I would like not be too upset because that is really dope. And then classic to what I've been doing a lot this Inktober, I just threw some vines around it because I just really like vines. I don't know, I like drawing the little leaves. It's really relaxing to, number one, do the line art, and number two, fill in all the tiny leaves with a very nice green. So that was just really, really fun to do. So yeah, but that is the initial sketch. And like I've been saying in almost every single video, if you want to see like all of the behind the scenes, like the details of how I managed to get to this point, you can check out for less than $1 on or less than $1 for $1 on Patreon, and you get all the behind the scenes of the traditional sketches, the digital sketches, and access to all of the other normal Patreon rewards because those will still be coming out this month as well. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, if you're a patron, you already know what I'm talking about. So let's get into coloring this illustration. So I decided to go with Copics because I wanted it to be very, very vibrant. I really wanted the reds and the earth tones to stand out. Um, and speaking of earth tones, I had some trouble choosing his hair color because I didn't want to do orange since a lot of the illustration was already very red, like his skin tone, his cheeks, the hat, the sword, you know, things like that. And I didn't want to do black because although there would be a really nice contrast there I felt like would be too much, which is why I initially decided to go for like a reddish brown, sort of in between like very, very red and very, very brown. I also gave him green eyes because of course it complements the red, but I also just love the like the combo of green eyes and brown hair. As you guys can see though, I had quite a bit of trouble with his hair. It didn't stand out enough against the mushroom cap, which I was sort of expecting, but also I had done a couple little thumbnail like color studies off camera, very, very rushed, and I thought that it would be good, but because I didn't have like the actual blended colors on there, I had just gone with the base tones. So like, here, let me explain. The way that I use Copics is I have a base color, and then it's usually like I would suggest, or I would say is like my lightest tone I put down first, and then I go in and I blend with the darker colors. So when I do thumbnail sketches, I often just use my lightest color, or the color that I'm going to be mainly using for each aspect of like different parts. So I put down the lightest color of the hat, the lightest color of the skin, and the lightest color of the hair. And there it all looked like it would be fine and like it would be like pretty much the perfect color scheme. However, once I started getting the blending on his skin and his hat, and then finally on his hair, I realized that with all of the other tones combined together, it wasn't standing out enough. So I decided to try and desaturate it with a gray. And that didn't really work. I think it turned out okay, but I kind of wish I'd just gone with like a normal dark brown in the first place. I had a similar sort of issue as well with his shirt. Initially, I was going for like an ivory sort of burlap situation, but it ended up being way yellower than I thought and similar in darkness pretty much to his actual skin tone. So, pretty much the same issue that I had with the hair and the hat, like I said before. And so I tried to do the same trick to desaturate it as well, but the first gray was not light enough, and the second gray was too blue toned, and the third gray was literally dying. So I finally said screw it and went for like a light grayish green. In fact, I think the color that I used is literally called gray green, which I actually ended up liking a lot more than the ivory, not just because the ivory had turned out wrong, but because I think it really brought in the green from his eyes and also from the vines, because I felt like there wasn't enough green in the illustration before. I didn't think that before I added the green, but after I added it, I was like, oh yes, this is what pulled it together. This is what I feel like somewhat saved this illustration apart from the hair. I am still a little bit upset about the hair. However, another thing about his shirt. The yellow was really kind of standing out underneath just because of the nature of the mixed media paper and how it reacts with Copics. So I thought it was kind of cool because it made it kind of look like it was almost like more of an organic material, like maybe something that you would be able to make from things that you find in the forest. And my husband also said it kind of reminded him of a leaf, how it kind of changes colors like that. So I was like, yes, I like this vibe. We're gonna keep it this green color. So that's it for our mighty little mushroom night. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and you're not already subscribed, please do, because I'm going to be uploading every single day from now until the end of October, so there's plenty of illustrations like this on the way. I also want to give a huge shout out to my patrons Elise Thompson, Duran, and Mandy. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for continuing to support me every single month. If you want to get a shout out alongside these awesome people, you can check out the link to the Patreon down below. You can also gain access to a ton of other cool rewards like Etsy and commission discounts, wallpapers, coloring pages, and like I said before, all the behind the scenes work for this Inktober. I love you guys so much, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye!